Ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, you're visible.
Mics are up.
Mics are up.
How do we sound?
Fabulous.
Test. Hi.
Hello.
I'm here with, what's your name?
I'm here with Natasha
Do you know what else is?
Hoskins.
Oh.
I don't know how I knew that actually. Like, where have I seen it? Is it on your Twitter?
Yeah, I'm fully doxed on everything.
Oh, so that's how I've seen it. It's because you post it everywhere. Do you know my last name? Yeah.
Oh, it sounds like room temp.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, this is Voice Live. We are here in studio in the heart of electric.
Here we are in the heart of Williamsburg to live stream for y'all.
May 27th.
And the vibe is electric.
There it is.
On May 27th.
Okay, I have something that I want to call you in on.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, that sounds really inviting. I'm excited.
Okay, so you and I share locations, sort of. The devil's in the technology because it constantly keeps breaking.
Yeah, you tend to blame the technology, I would say, yeah.
I tend to blame the technology, but I'm not doing anything. So for me, it feels it must be the technology. Anyway.
You're not doing anything, so you're not putting forth any effort to share your location with me. Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay. And you tweet a lot about Nomad Flatiron area.
Yeah, totally. I love that area. I refer to it as Flatiron/Nomad. That's like really important for me.
You're starting with Flatiron, then
yeah, because Flatiron is better, and then Nomad is just kind of like it got tacked on because of the business improvement district. There's some history and lore that goes into that, but
okay,
Flatiron is more important.
Okay, so I just need to tell you, I have never, not once, while looking at your location, seen you in Flatiron/Nomad.
You know, that's fair. I tend to go there for like 1 hour or less. Okay. I just go to Madison Square Park basically, and then I leave.
Do you go to the Shake Shack there?
I have never.
Very good.
And then like sometimes I'll visit offices. It's just like where a lot of tech startup offices are.
Yes.
So sometimes I'll but not for very long.
Just kind of popping in.
Yeah, if anyone has an office in Flatiron that you just like want someone really fun and exciting to go to, like I would say maybe just DM me on Twitter.
Bring the electric in atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly. I can bring something. Yeah, just tell me what you need from me.
Okay. I just wanted to shout that out. Everything you see
trying to call me fake, basically.
Basically, everything you see on the internet is not real. Okay, so this live stream is brought to you by two wonderful partners, Polygon and Vercel. And we're going to talk about Vercel a little later, but do you want to talk about Polygon?
I literally love talking about Polygon. Let me just figure out what I'm going to say by scrolling my phone.
You do the ad reads from your phone. That's cool. That's maybe something I should start to implement.
Yeah, I just find that it's hard for me to use a laptop. I used to do my whole job on my phone, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was amazing.
That's incredible.
But no, I don't have a job, so I don't
do you think that you could pull up the Polygon graphic while this goes live? The Polygon graphic while this goes live? And Quasi Matt is going to do a great job telling us about...
Okay. Let me tell you something about Polygon. Every company moving money globally hits the same walls. Legacy rails are slow, expensive, and built for a pre-internet world. Stablecoin rails are fast, but they're fragmented across vendors that don't talk to each other. The plumbing to deliver on the promise of stablecoins hasn't existed. Polygon's open money stack is fixing that. One unified stack that puts global money movement onto proven rails that move at the speed of the internet. And why Polygon? Because they've been moving money. Check out the link in chat to learn more. We love Polygon.
We love Polygon. Great job.
We really do. I do have to bring up another geographic moment that I had today. If you would have checked my location this morning, you would have seen that I was in my neighborhood, and I do sometimes see celebrities who stay at the trendy hotel near my apartment.
I was there this weekend. I stayed there this weekend.
Wait, you stayed at that hotel?
Yes, I did.
Why?
My mom was in town. We had a little girls' weekend.
Okay, yeah. Wait, your mom's so trendy.
She's a trendsetter.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
no, she's really. Well, she asked me where should we stay, and I said
This
there.
weekend. Well,
and if we had our location shared, you maybe could have met my mom.
Yeah, it's so true, actually. Anyway, Addison Rae grabs a city bike right outside my apartment. So I've seen her twice this week.
Whoa,
Yeah.
twice? That's huge. Okay, wow. I really would have loved to, if I had spotted Addison Rae at the breakfast situation at this hotel.
It very well could have happened.
It could have happened.
Yeah.
That would have been really cool. I would have been really excited. I wouldn't have done anything, but I would have talked about it.
I didn't do anything. I just like turned to my friend and I was like, oh, that's Addison Rae.
That's a cool move.
Yeah.
That's the way to be.
Today, this morning, she was wearing her hat really low. So I was like, oh, like either you're worried about like the sun or you like really don't want to be seen. So I was like, okay, I'll let you grab your city bike.
Yeah.
She took a while to do it though, I will say. Like I saw her getting it and then I went up into my apartment and I looked out the window and she was still getting it. And I was like,
so Addison Rae is slow on a city bike is what you're trying to say.
Grabbing a city bike. Like I love her. I'm literally obsessed with her. It's not her job to get a city bike. It's her job to make amazing music and to entertain. And she does that better than maybe anyone else on planet Earth.
Yeah.
Like I would say, yeah, she's like certainly like a top 1% entertainer. So if she's not the most efficient at getting a city bike, that's okay.
That's really fun. And I will have to say, sometimes it's the technology of the city bike is very slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll try to dock it, it doesn't work, or you'll try to get it and it's just locked in there.
Exactly. It's the dock sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a lot to get through. We have a great guest that's coming on, Jacob Taylor, who will be here in 20-ish minutes.
Perfect.
20-ish minutes. Thanks for letting that slide.
I was getting into my my AI safety researcher bag in preparation for that.
Okay, great.
Like I feel like I never really read about AI or anything, but now that I've read like I think it was actually 3 pages, and I literally read it. I don't know how much of it I remember, but now I feel like I can go to parties and say, yeah, I'm actually an AI safety researcher.
You are a researcher.
And especially after this conversation, I'm like a research collaborator. Really.
Yeah. Exactly. You are an academic.
We are, yeah.
We are. Okay, me too. Okay, yeah, he is a literal academic. He is working at the Brookings Institution and he is writing on AI. It's going to be a great conversation. Before we do that, you and I have some things we're going to share and yap about and talk about here collectively.
Some global news.
Do you want to go first? Should I go first? I think you should go first because I need to do my 2 back to back.
Okay, cool.
They're married in some ways.
Okay, so mine is a reference to Williamsburg, really.
Okay.
So there's this thing that happens online that I really love called dating discourse.
Okay.
And this time the discourse is about whether you should, it's like this girl, here, let me just read it. Let me read it.
Okay.
We're finding it.
Okay. We're pulling it up here. It's a Reddit post.
But while I'm doing that, how do you feel about, do you participate in dating discourse on X? Do you find it fruitful? What is your experience with dating discourse at large?
Okay. I wouldn't say that I participate. I would say I sometimes keep up to date on the discourse.
Okay.
I see what people are saying. I like to see how people are weighing in. I don't think I've ever shared my own opinion around it.
Oh my God, we're getting a first from you because you're going to have to share your opinion now on this dating discourse.
I mean, maybe on this live stream, but like I've never written out my opinion, I guess would be one way of saying it. But I find it really interesting. I love to know how other people do things. I think people are so weird and wonderful. And so I want to know all of the things. You know what I'm saying?
Literally. So many. Okay, I'm just really, really struggling to pull this up. 1 second.
Okay, I think I can actually read it on the screen.
Oh, I have it.
You have it? Okay, great.
Williamsburg Dating Discourse. Here we go.
Okay, here we go.
This is a Reddit post. Do men commonly send Ubers to bring women to dates in Williamsburg? I was talking to a woman, 27F, for a few weeks, had been on 2 dates in Manhattan and FaceTimed a few times. I invited her to Williamsburg, my hood, for a brunch date. She said yes, and then asked how she'd get there and if I would send a car for her. I assumed this was a joke since she lives in Greenwich Village, so like 15 to 20 minutes away. So I laughed and said I had full faith in her to make it to Brooklyn. She quickly called off the date and broke things off. Is this a common expectation of NYC dating? I could understand calling an Uber for my date at the end of the night if it's late. There are no good subways, etc. But for a daytime date, when there's an extremely easy subway trip, makes no sense to me.
Okay. I want to hear your thoughts before I share my thoughts.
Okay.
Well,
so,
also, it blew up.
Yeah. Everyone's commenting on it. My thoughts are this is entitled, narcissistic, disgusting, gross, uninformed. So I basically think like you should take the subway for 3 stops. So
For
Greenwich
sure.
Village, famously off of the L train. Williamsburg, also famously off of the L train. Like you can take the subway for 3 stops and it will literally be faster than an Uber.
Right.
So I think there's like a lack of logistical knowledge, and that's like where we're starting. But then, okay, let's transcend that and talk about the sentiment, which is like, I expect that the guy that I'm going on a date with is going to get me an Uber to the location. And then I'm still kind of like, well, not really. Like it's one of those things where like, if someone is offering it, that's electric. Like that's amazing.
Yes.
But like, if you have to like do this weird negotiation to get what you want, then maybe just like calm down.
Okay.
Like,
yes. Yeah. Okay. Really, really interesting. Okay. A few things. This is princess behavior from this woman.
Right.
27F.
Yeah.
And I would never do this. Never. In 1 million years. Like, but I kind of feel like this is a test. He failed. That's actually good.
Yeah.
Because it means they're not a match. Because there's some women who expect this and want this, and some men who want to do it. And
Yeah, of
those
course.
people need to find each other.
Yeah.
These people are not meant for each other. Her asking, how do I get there? Is honestly, I would be like legitimately embarrassed if I had sent that text to somebody. I would feel shame.
And I think it's like we're getting the guy's perspective in his framing. Like I think there is a genuinely normal way to go about this where you're like, hey, like I'm wondering if you'd be willing to grab me an Uber. Like maybe, I don't know, come up with some fake reason. Like I'm really scared of rats on the subway. Like, I don't know. Like,
I don't go underground.
Put a little bit of like courtesy into the request and then be like totally chill if he says no.
Right.
Or what you're saying is be like, oh, I actually have like certain standards for how I interact with people on dates and like this isn't meeting it. Like,
you know, it's kind of a callback to, it's that video that we watched of the person who was like, that was like walking around their apartment or the apartment building, and it looked like
the rich auntie.
Auntie.
It's very rich auntie
adjacent.
behavior.
It's rich auntie behavior. Okay,
it's
I
like
think
entitlement behavior.
It's entitlement behavior. I find that really, I really don't like it, but I also don't want to be judgmental around it because I do feel like I think it is net positive for people to elevate their expectations around how they are treated generally.
Yeah.
But I think that this is not something I would do, and I think it's ridiculous. I think this is just dating advice for heterosexual men generally. Offering for the Uber home is like the easiest $10 to $25 you will spend, and it's such a great move.
Right, high ROI.
Just do it.
On that behavior.
Just be like, can I get you an Uber home? A lot of people will probably be like, oh no, I like to walk, or I like to take a subway, or whatever. Some people won't, and they will take you up on it. And those people will be like, wow, that was so nice of him. Just do that.
Yeah.
Just do it. And like, if the $25 is a big stretch for you, then maybe there's another way to go about it.
Stop dating and get your bag up. Like, what are you doing?
For sure.
There is this other greater thing that I think is like, I don't really think it's bad to, like what you're saying, it's not bad to have preferences. What is bad is to like perpetuate ambiguity about your preferences when they're non-standard. So
Yes.
it's like people think that it's okay for like me to have my expectations in my head and the other person to have their expectations in their head. And then we just like expect each other to execute on that. When really it's like, okay, you're using a dating app that has a profile that gives you an opportunity to list what your preferences are. I would say just do all the filtering right there. I would maybe even say write like a 2-page PDF that says like exactly what you want so that you can just filter people out quick, because now
PDF.
like
Downloadable PDF.
yeah, that has some expectations, and then like maybe list what's negotiable and what's not. And then before you go to the first date, I would suggest calling, having a negotiation and being like, hey, like this is what I'm looking for. What are you looking for? And having everything really established. I think people like love to think this is just going to like happen to them, but it's like, well, you're on Hinge. So it's not, you already lost the like magic of the moment. You might as well just admit that it's like a negotiation, and like all of your relationships are really transactional, and dating is like just kind of a way of like scamming someone into adding value into your life and stuff like that. And just work from there.
Work from there. I think I always feel when someone offers me an Uber to a date, when they're like, can I call you a car?
Yeah.
I always feel like it's a test. Like I feel they're testing me.
And how do you pass the test? Like, what do you imagine?
By saying, no, I can take the subway there. No problem.
That's interesting, because I would assume the opposite. Like, I would assume that like if they are into providing something, then they're like going to want you to say yes to it.
Okay.
But if it's like, it's so complicated, because it's so like complicated. Maybe they are assuming an expectation that you have and meeting that expectation despite the fact that they don't really want to.
Right.
So then in that case, what you're doing is actually great and amazing.
I think the only answer is to be very true to yourself. And so if there's a moment where I'm like, you know what? I would like an Uber there. I'll take them up on it. Never in a million years will I say, how do I get for the Greenwich
Village? Oh my God. Wait, it's so beautiful that we like, oh, what's the game theory of dating? Well, maybe it's not about that. Maybe it's just about being you.
Being real. What was the general take online?
Well, there were a lot of people who were saying like, oh, this is like something that sex workers do, and like normal people shouldn't be normal people. Non-sex workers, I would say dating is sex work, but whatever. Shouldn't be doing that.
Okay.
So that was like and then people were like, oh, well, is that really true? Like, what does this actually have to do with that at all? And like, it seems like you're just trying to like make it seem like this extremely like, okay, not extremely normal, but you know, this relatively innocuous behavior. You're trying to demonize it by calling it that. I would say in general, they were taking the guy's side.
Yeah. I mean, you're also on a really masculine coded, like you're on Reddit.
So I didn't even think about that.
You're going to have a lot of men weighing in, as opposed to like, if that were on TikTok, I think there would be like a very different response, maybe potentially.
Yeah, that's true. Because on TikTok, there's the whole universe of, I added another tweet. I don't know if you pulled up the other tweet, but there's like this universe of, what is it called? Sprinkle, because there's there's this like lady that gives dating advice on TikTok, and she'll just be like, scam him, like use him. Like that's like her whole shtick. And everyone is in the like, I know women who like stan her and are like, yeah, like, whoa, I'm gonna like
use him.
Yeah, like get anything I can out of him.
Okay.
And I'm kind of like, okay, this is like I think we've talked about this before. Like there's a certain type of person that can get away with doing that because you're just so clouded and amazing, and everyone always wants to be with you, and you're basically a celebrity, and everyone sort of imagines that that's them. Right. It's simply not. Like,
see, it's the reason why I would refuse the Uber initially is because my worst fear is being perceived exactly as you just communicated. Someone who thinks that they are this type of person and they are really not. And so I'm doing some mental gymnastics around that's what's happening here. And I need to make sure that they know that I know that I'm not that person.
Yeah. No, that's real. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Really interesting stuff. I think that we should move now to the Pope.
What does the Pope have to say?
Seamless transition. Okay. So the Pope weighed in on AI on Monday. So Pope Leo XIV issued his first major. I had a moment where I said his, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is the pronoun?
Is the Pope a woman? Oh, am I being unwoke?
Like, did I misgender the Pope?
Isn't it literally like the Pope actually has to be a man?
I think, yeah. I don't think a woman can be the Pope.
Because people were freaking out when the Pope was going to be like black or something.
I think people were freaking out. And then this Pope is actually an American, and that's a really big deal.
Oh yeah, and people think he's going to run for president, I think. And
oh really? Wow, I
mean,
that.
I just mean at least one person thinks that because someone told me that. But I'm not really sure.
Okay, so on Monday, Pope Leo XIV issued the first major theological text of his papacy. Okay, we're going to define some things. I know this is not
Yeah,
your
this
world.
is new terminology. I'm not.
Warning about the growing power of artificial intelligence and calling for stronger regulation of the technology. Okay, so he released, every time I say he, I'm nervous. I don't know why. Okay, he released something called an encyclical, which is essentially like a formal letter from the Pope to address the people and the church.
Okay.
And it is 42,000 words.
Okay.
This one on AI. And a papacy is basically referring to like the authority of the Pope as the head of the Catholic Church and sort of what the institution of the Pope is like decreeing essentially for their time in office.
God goes, stop AI. And then the Pope goes, stop AI, with a big AI slot paper that's 42,000 words long. Got it. Yeah.
Basically. No, I mean, I guess that's one way of saying it. Yes.
I feel like that's what I heard. Like, I don't know what nuances you're interested in adding.
Okay. So his encyclical covers basically like theology and doctrine generally as like a piece of literature, theology and doctrine, social justice, ethics and morals, politics and society, and sort of like the environment or the care for creation.
So like everything.
Everything. Yeah, for sure. Big remit on that one. Okay. And so it was called Magnifica Humanitas.
Okay, pretentious, but
okay. Sure. And basically what the whole paper is on is that obviously AI is ushering in a new industrial revolution. So he as a pope is hearkening back to the previous pope before him, Pope Leo XIII, who wrote his paper, his decree on
the Industrial Revolution.
Oh,
okay.
So he's kind of like hearkening back to that, and like it's a callback. He's doing a callback.
He's like remixing the old one.
And I wouldn't say it's all anti-AI. I would say that there's some aspects of it that are somewhat like pro-technology, but it's definitely like a warning call. And some of the things he writes, we're living through a rapid phase of transition, a change of era in which, while some are vying for the future of new technologies and others dedicate themselves to reflecting on the matter, some people are watching and waiting, observing from afar and merely hoping for the best. And it was sort of like a call to be like collectively deciding,
like, we need to engage with this issue.
Yes.
The issue of artificial intelligence.
Yes. And that's cool. So basically a few key points here. He sort of references, this is going to be a deeply biblical reference. So I don't know.
I mean, I have so much biblical education. I honestly might be able to clock it.
Oh, really?
I might be able to tell you what book it's from.
Oh my gosh. Wait, what?
I mean, the chances are like 1%, but let's try it.
Okay. Constructing Babel and rebuilding Jerusalem.
Oh, well, the Tower of Babel, I do know, was when God made all the languages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
People were building too high. Oh my God, wait, I love that he used this.
Yes.
It really is the same thing.
It is.
The Tower of Babel. Humanity builds high into the sky in an attempt to touch God.
Yep.
AI. Mm-hmm. Humanity goes on their laptops for a really long time in an attempt to become God, perhaps?
Question mark.
It's really the same. But this time, is God going to intervene? Because when they built the tower, he said, well, y'all can't communicate anymore. Yeah. And this time, maybe he's sending a virus or something like that, because he's got to do something to distract us. So,
just a drought, maybe.
Yeah. Or I guess he's intervening via the Pope.
Via the Pope. Exactly. God, Pope, humanity. Okay. He calls for the urgency of the moment. There's a bunch of stuff on that. He talks about warns against AI and warfare. There's a whole big section about just war and his theories on the war and how technology is being used to harm people. And so there's like a whole thing on that, and like the human control of weaponry was a thing that he discussed there. And
so wait, is he pro or anti-war?
He's anti. He's
Okay.
anti-war.
So like, but now this is interesting to me because it's like he's kind of proposing that you could do war with AI or war without AI, and then it's like, oh, we can't do war without or with AI, and then that kind of like justifies the war without AI. Like, hey guys, it's okay to fight, but use a sword.
Okay, let's see what he says here. Okay, he's kind of speaking to that. He says the just war theory, which I'm unfamiliar with, which has all too often been used to justify any kind of war, is now outdated. So I do think he's saying that like we're in this moment of rapid technological advancement, and the areas in which it's touching are one area in which it's touching that is like direct human harm. Is our ability to better control weaponry. But you could make the argument that that's making it more efficient.
Yeah,
and
or
harming
like,
less people.
There's a certain type of way in which like technology can relocate the conflict from like actual harm to like a Cold War type situation. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he's saying about that, but he's basically just saying like, hey, Palantir, like I don't really like that.
Palantir, no.
Yeah, that's like my take on that. But I don't know, because also it's like if part of the message is, hey guys, like we need to pay attention to AI, that's pretty empty if that's a significant portion of what he's saying.
I mean,
that being said, I haven't read any of it, so
right,
that could be on my end.
I think you're coming at it from someone who is deeply, deeply engaged in these things.
So true.
And so I think a general call to pay attention to what's happening.
Oh, wait, it's so true. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, because we like think and talk about AI all the time.
Yeah, like your average Catholic nonna.
Right.
I don't know that she's thinking about AI that much.
Right.
And
that
I
makes
think
sense.
So anyway, a lot here. I do want to transition because I have a perfect segue to my next topic, and I just want to touch on it quite briefly.
Okay.
So big week for the Pope. He has this paper come out.
Right. Normally, no one cares about the Pope. So
that's also not true.
Oh, okay. That's another bubble that I live in, I guess. Okay.
And so he comes out with this encyclical or whatever. I keep pronouncing it wrong, but we get the gist.
The document, yeah.
The document, people are talking about it. Then yesterday, big day for both him and Ferrari, because Ferrari comes out with their first electric car in which the Pope actually tours the vehicle. So we actually do have a tape of it. It's quite shocking that these two things that I was going to talk about it feels like there was like a glitch in the simulation that this happened.
Wait, he's doing a tour of the interior of the car, or he's doing a tour around in the car?
Both. Okay. Yes, and we have a video. We can play the tape and you can watch it on here.
Okay. Anyone there?
The real interface with every Ferrari and Luce as well. He's on the red.
Okay, a few things I want to say here.
Yeah.
This is just so funny to me. What are we doing here? Like, do you know what I mean?
Is he doing commentary on like the car? Like, is he selling it, or is it just like
someone is kind of selling it to him? Not like actually selling it, but like explaining what's going on and talking him through. This man, as you can imagine, quite a stoic figure. He's not enthusiastic. He's not really giving anything.
Yeah, which is like what you would expect. Like, that's not his bag.
What you would expect, but also part of what is so funny to me about it is the internet hates this car. People are so mad. It's called Luce. It's the first electric car that Ferrari is putting out. It's a 5-seater. People are upset about that.
How many seats is it supposed to have?
I'm so sorry. It's on Do Not Disturb, but my sister pushes through no matter what. Notify anyway. She's like, it's time to talk. Okay. It's designed by Jony Ive and Marc Newson from LoveFrom. You know, that famous design firm?
Nope.
You don't know that?
No, can you
designer?
educate me? Like, what else have they made,
What?
perhaps?
Wait, Jony Ives?
Well, I'm anti-design.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a neat and tidy excuse for not knowing who Jony Ives is.
Yeah, I have a neat and tidy excuse for most things.
Okay. Basically, he was one of the main designers at Apple. He is he is credited for like all of the, I think not correctly credited as like the mastermind behind design. And a big take that I was seeing on the internet around the Ferrari was, oh, this is just proof that Jony Ives was like right place, right time. And there's something really comforting about that like you could just be in the right place at the right time and become super famous. And like, actually you're like maybe just mid in terms of your talent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was kind of like a take the internet had. It's extremely ugly. Yeah. This is a great example. Like the car like with the plug.
Oh, I saw that tweet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. So now you know what they're talking about. Anyway, people hated it. And then the Pope kind of being like super laissez-faire about the whole thing only like perpetuated that, because everybody was like, the Pope's not impressed and neither am I. And what is this vehicle? How do you feel about cars? How much of a car guy are you? I don't really see that for
so
you.
I moved to New York so that I wouldn't have to use a car, basically.
Okay.
So I would say I'm pretty anti-car, although sometimes when I get the chance to drive, I think it's fun to go fast.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, that's like my thoughts on driving and cars.
So you don't have like a car that you would like if money were not an object?
I've never thought about it.
Okay,
Maybe that one, just to be contrarian, honestly. Definitely something electric. So probably that.
Okay. I will say the TechCrunch article that talked about the response was saying that there has not been this much of an outward hatred of a vehicle since the Cybercar.
Yeah. Okay. I think
Cybertruck.
Cybertruck, whenever I think like notorious vehicle that everyone hates.
Notorious vehicle that everyone hates. Now you
I
can
see
think
them
of
all
Luce.
the time though. So they have fans.
They have fans. One time I saw a tweet that I will never forget, and I think about it every time I see a Cybertruck. It was like, you'll just be going about your day just fine, and then all of a sudden, bam, Cybertruck. And that's definitely my experience of it, and will be my experience of this car here. Anyway, people hate it. People are upset at Jony Ive. I think you should do a deep dive. I think you'd have a lot to say about him and what he's up to.
So he made like the MacBook design and like the design thesis for Apple in general.
I think it's like, okay, here are some companies that he is credited for. Apple. So they have LoveFrom is a firm, and then they are like contracted clients out. And Apple is their first client and worked with the company until 2022. And it's not publicly disclosed which projects they were on. But yes, it's like, okay, he was a part of the iPhone. He was part of the MacBook, whatever.
Okay.
Airbnb, Ferrari, Montclair, Christie's. Those are the biggest ones. There's some other. And OpenAI. They're doing some stuff with OpenAI and like hardware around OpenAI. And that was like a big thing when people were like Jony Ives and Sam Altman. They had like a whole video where they like went to a Paris cafe. It was very weird. Anyway, I'll send you all the links.
This is his first big flop, basically. That's a big moment. I'm proud of him. How's he navigating it? I want to see what he's posting like right now. I want to see how he's posting through it.
Posting through it. I don't think he posts. I think he's like...
He's too cool to post. Yeah. Designer. It's so designer to be too cool to post.
Totally. Okay. We are now going to bring up our guest, which I'm very excited to talk about. Jacob Taylor. Come on down. Oh, wow. Of course. How's it going?
Good.
Hello.
Good to see you.
I'm Jacob.
Matt,
How are you?
good.
I actually kind of forgot that you have a British accent, which is...
Australian, but yeah,
Oh, okay.
I mean, to an American, it's all the same.
Okay, before we get started here, I'm going to tell everybody a little bit about our sponsor, who we love, and who is also working on a show with us that we will show the trailer at the end. Are mics hot? They're hot. Okay, great. Okay, Vercel is one of our partners of the show. If you are a startup building with agents, look no further than Vercel. Their agentic infrastructure gives you and your agents everything you need to ship. And if you're supported by one of their hundreds of VC or accelerator partners, you have access to exclusive discounts and benefits. Deploy faster, scale globally, and ship world-class AI products. Check out the platform that thousands of companies use from day zero to IPO at vercel.com/startups. You corrected me last time. That is not backslash, it's slash startups.
/startups.
The link is in the chat. And at the end of this episode, we are going to roll a trailer for this week's Show Me Your Stack episode with them. But before we do that, we're going to chat with Jacob. Thank you for being here. You have a very, very impressive resume. Very well-rounded dude. You are a fellow at the Center for Sustainable Development at the Brookings Institution. You completed a PhD from Oxford in cognitive and evolutionary anthropology.
Mouthful, yes.
Wow, great. Okay. And you played professional rugby for 3 or 4 years?
That's right. Yeah,
Australia.
back in Australia. Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
So you got a lot going on.
Just see what's inside my head. It's even worse. Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Very excited to talk with you about the paper you recently published. Before we get into that, can you just give our listeners a little bit of info on Brookings and the work that you do?
Yeah. Brookings Institution is one of the world's most well-known think tanks, and we think about public policy. So basically trying to come up with research, insights, tools that leaders can use across organizations and governments to make the world a better place for people and planet. Not, when we say public policy, it's really like, how do we give people and the world we live in more resources and power?
Okay. And how long have you been there?
I've been there for almost 6 years now.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah, so been a little while.
Okay.
But have been there long enough to kind of get a sense of the game of policy, and increasingly find myself trying to get out of it and into places like this to talk more about, things like technology and how that shapes the societies we live in. So.
Is the scope of your work like entirely technology, or do you do other stuff as well?
No, so I'm an anthropologist of team performance originally. So human behavior, trying to figure out how, I was, as an athlete in another life, was fascinated by how sometimes when teams work well together, and what's the special sauce for that.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
So I got brought in to Brookings to help build new ways of collaborating for these kind of big policy issues that the world doesn't have a great answer to at the moment. So it's like, how do we end extreme poverty? Turns out we actually know how to do it. We've got the technology. It'd probably cost us about 1% of all billionaires' wealth to just like end it tomorrow. But the key missing piece is like how to bring people together, because so many people have different pieces of the puzzle. How do you bring the people together in teams to really like chip away at the problem and build it up?
It's a coordination issue.
It's a coordination problem. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how did you go from that into getting into technology?
Tech. Yeah. So when you think about those big global problems, it's like you need the humans collaborating, coordinating, but really to get to the scale of some of the solutions, you need technology too, to help, go further, I guess, and get to scale. And so before Brookings, I was actually working on a DARPA research program, which is the Department of Defense's moonshot factory for cutting edge technology. And we were building an AI teammate, and that was the moonshot. And so I came with enough knowledge about AI to be dangerous, but not enough to like really build models and so on. And so that just like my team stuff, my AI stuff just found a place in Brookings where, that combo of the best of human teamwork and collaboration and the best of technology could be one like narrow path through a lot of the stuff that we're facing at the moment. Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Okay. So you just released a paper called Content Maxing, a Path to Cognitive Agency with Generative AI.
Context maxing.
Oh,
crucially. Yeah.
What did I say?
Content.
Oh, okay. Context.
We're content
You're
maxing.
content maxing.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's context
maxing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to this paper. It's impressive and dense. And a lot of what you were writing about is through the lens of policy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But can you just give us broad strokes? What was the intention of the paper?
Yeah.
And how you guys got started?
I mean, honestly though, my intention with the paper is like, are we ready for like a people's revolution with AI? That like at the core of what we were trying to write was like, I think what you saw earlier this year with the emergence of open source harnesses. So like the OpenClaw moment, Hermes now coming through, it was bigger than just another tech or another piece of software to us. It actually showed a very different way of working with AI that I think if we could really support that at this moment could give people more power and not less. So that's like under the hood, we're like, guys, let's let's jump on this and like empower people to do more of this kind of homebrew garage band AI, because in doing so, you actually give people the skills and competencies and agency to like use the technology in the way that people want to use it, rather than kind of feeling like they're just taking it from technology makers, model builders, whatever. And so it's really trying to like, it's about power ultimately. And that's agency is just a jargon term for power. So it's just like, how do we give people more power in this relationship?
Yeah. Big goal.
Yes. Yeah.
I love it. I respect that so much. And I think there is a real sentiment throughout the writing and the research around sort of like a positive view of what's possible.
Yeah.
And there's sort of, you talk about there being like two schools of thought, essentially. One being that as people are using these models, you don't use these words, but these are my words. There's sort of like cognitive decline. And that like, as people become more and more reliant on these tools, they're using sort of less and less of their own agency, their own like brain power in order to problem solve and do work and whatever, a variety of things. And then on the other side, there's this other group of research that's coming out that's showcasing that actually it can be beneficial to humanity, to people's work, to their own like cognitive sort of firing if there is context to the relationship that they have to AI.
Totally.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. And so I think generally speaking, when we use these tools in a way that's lazy, so we're just like, let's just ask ChatGPT to write our assignment. What we're seeing is like an over-reliance. So you're almost like outsourcing your cognitive muscles to the tool in a way that you might be losing some of the things that we value as human intelligence, like critical thinking, and you're literally like kind of often pouring over a lot of like inner states and thought processes to these chatbot machines. When that happens in a default, like open up the web page, ChatGPT, Claude.ai, we're finding that these systems are, what's happening in this default environment is you're giving a lot of that context, those inner thoughts, your domain knowledge, your expertise, your emotional state. Sometimes you kind of just given that off to the platform. The more you just give it over and kind of hope that the AI is going to do something with it that you value, the less power you get. And you kind of like, so we call it a cognitive erosion, where that's kind of like the muscles atrophying a little bit. But it turns out that the key rub here is that these systems, these models are only good because of the context that we've given them. And what I mean by context is like information, domain knowledge, usage of the models. So if you track the way this technology has evolved, it's like, large language models got off the ground because of just the masses of human created data from the internet that were fed to them. But they only really became usable once model developers started using human feedback as a reinforcement learning technique, right? Probably heard that idea of reinforcement learning with human feedback. That's what really got it off the ground. But they're basically just taking like human judgment, pouring it into the model, and then we're like, oh, okay, we can use this now. And then like a year and a half ago, reasoning models only got good because of the reasoning or inference that happens is just mimicking the way humans use the tools. And that led to another like step change in performance. And so what we're trying to say is like, this is all us, guys. Like we've done this to the tools. It's not this like godlike tool that has just emerged. It's all humans. It's humans all the way down. And it turns out that what that special source is just, it's now called context in the industry. It was called data before AI. And it's just like your stuff is the special source for AI. And so the more you can control your stuff when you interact with these systems, the better off you're going to be. Because at the top level, these models only work well when, you know, people are saying these days you need expertise, taste, or some special niche environment to get ahead with these tools. And that's just because humans are great at coordinating that. And people call it context now.
So when you say, is that actually like you are, how do you practically do that? I guess.
So
yeah.
And for us, how the hell do you do that?
Yeah.
Practically was OpenClaw.
Okay.
Because often we see OpenClaw is framed as an agent harness, right? A bit of software that allows you to deploy agents. But really what we think the more accurate way of talking about it is it's a context harness. Because what it does is just allow you a software wrapper where you can take an LLM and plug it in. But then everything else is just allows you to put more useful information into the context window that you use to interact with that LLM.
Okay.
And so really for us, it's a harness that provides a structure for you to bring in, like, I'm going to bring in my Slack from my team. I'm going to bring my Google Drive. I'm going to bring my notes from my journal app and organize that around the LLM in a software environment that I control. The alternative is that you take all of your work and just like open up your web browser and just like pile it all into the platform.
Yeah.
And the platform will take ownership and control over how that information is organized.
Okay.
Whereas with context maxing is really just like, how do you do all of that at home on your own hardware, software, in markdown files that you can control and edit.
Okay.
So it's giving you more like taking it back over your side of the fence rather than like offloading it all to the platform.
Okay.
Yeah. But you're still giving the platform access to the information when it needs it, basically, right?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So it's not about withholding information necessarily. Well, I mean, I guess it kind of is. Like the information is given to the model when it's necessary for it to solve the problem that you're giving it.
Yeah. And so, it's not like a complete privacy play, but we're hoping it's just a bit more balanced in the sense that you still share with cloud-based model providers the queries that you send through an API, but you don't kind of allow them to organize the full amount of information that would happen on a platform. So they get a copy, but you get more control out of how to organize that information and reuse it over time. Or if you're done with Anthropic or Chat or OpenAI, you can unplug that and plug in an open source model. Or you could even get a locally hosted LLM on your laptop and use that instead. So you're fully in your own environment. So the idea is like doing it this way, you get more choice, more control, but you don't completely like shut out the model providers. And indeed, like there's some good synergy there. Like they need data to build better products. We need better products, but we just need a bit more control too.
Yeah. And in a way, it might be like more useful for them to know what information you want to give them.
Totally. Yeah.
Like it seems like feasible that could actually be a better situation for them too. Because it's like so pointless for me to just dump every document I've ever written into AI. But if I have something more pointed and they might be able to get clued into what I want based on what I'm giving them.
I think so. And maybe this gets into some other things about token maxing and so on. But I think at the moment, I lost my train of thought.
How did you guys actually go about like doing that research where you're saying, okay, there's these two different ways of interacting with AI and the context around it? Like, can you talk about how you guys do that?
Yeah. So basically we just tried to research as many frontier users as possible that were posting on Twitter, Substack, just like sharing what they were doing as OpenClaw was coming out. And then we did it ourselves. So we, as people were sharing, we were like, okay, let's do it too. And we were kind of in close to the metal, trying to figure out, okay, actually, how does this work and how to organize our context in a way that gets better performance out of the models for our work at Brookings, basically.
Nice.
It's giving show me your stack, actually.
It is.
You said show me your tech stack.
Yeah.
And then you learned from that.
A little bit. Yeah. I checked out show me your stack. I was like,
nice.
are you going to ask me to show me your stack?
I do want to talk about token maxing. You start the paper talking about this idea. And basically the idea of token maxing is that employees should basically maximize the AI usage that they're allowed from their employer. And there's some of that is positive, some of that is negative on the
Right.
time. And there's a whole, kind of conversation around token maxing. And this week, actually, the COO of Uber was saying that in an interview that it's harder and harder to justify the costs of this high usage because it's not actually translating to better output and better products. And in addition, there was this other story that came out about Amazon employees who are using internal AI tools to the max, but automating non-essential tasks, like basically doing it just so that their manager thinks that they're token maxing, but they actually aren't. So I'm curious what you've come across in the world of token maxing.
Yeah, token max. So I think that really crested at the end of last year when the idea was like tokens were cheap, more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, tokens are becoming cheaper, but there's a supplier side bottleneck at the moment. So now a few months later, because agents are kind of everywhere, tokens aren't so free flowing for everyone. And it's becoming a meaningful size on the balance sheet of a lot of companies like Uber. And so I actually think it's a good thing that people are not just like more, because from a human perspective, that's just like the AI will do it if we just give it more power.
Yeah.
Whereas what we're saying is like, actually, no, like the AI is not good on its own. It's only how much human stuff you pair it with.
Yeah.
And so in that context, to have software engineers and users feeling a bit of a discipline of like, okay, well, like every token's got to come to some output or outcome, I think is ultimately good. We want it to go a step further where it's just not about maxing ultimately. It's kind of like when we use tokens, when we interact with AI, like who gets enduring power, who builds muscle, who builds value. And I think in a conversation where workers are feeling kind of like this technology is coming at them and they're feeling forced to use it, that's really important to me, is how to give people more power. And so I think showing outcomes, showing what context you use to interact with AI needs to be part of the conversation as well as just like how much you use.
Yeah. Okay. So two sort of like analogies come to mind for me when you're talking about this and when I was reading the paper. It's like when you're talking to a friend, like there's a conversation that you can have with a friend where you're just kind of like perpetuating brain rot between the two of you. And it's just like, really, we're not getting smarter here. Like we're just down. And then there's a conversation where like, usually it's people who maybe are new friends or people that like don't know you and like you're having to sort of like, the conversation's a little bit of work.
Yeah.
And it like forces you to define either your values or your beliefs or what you think about something. And I think sort of what you're saying is like, it's easy to use these tools in this way where it's just like brain rot down to the bottom. And what's more challenging is finding ways to like forcing yourself to have discipline around the ways that you're interacting with these tools. And also like really technically, there are some things that you should be doing to like pushing it into an environment that is more personalized.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I think in the paper, we boil it down to 3 new skills that we're seeing. One is we call specification. So it really forces teams to articulate what it is that they're doing. Like, okay, we need to make our business processes or our teamwork machine legible. And so sometimes when you actually ask people to be like, hang on, what is it that we do? And like, how do we actually get to our outputs, our deliverables? Some people are like, oh, I've never actually had to articulate it like that. Like we have all these like codified stuff in our software or our work, but like really when you need to boil down the special sauce that makes your team work well. And I think that's one thing that we're seeing, like teams actually have to kind of open up a little bit more than just like what it says on the page into like, oh, actually like, you know, Matt and I actually huddle first before we do anything. And then like, you know, before it goes to Natasha and like, but she's going to call the shots at the end of the day. And all that kind of texture of teamwork needs to be more available to AI if you want it to be personalized to your context. And then from there, it becomes a question of orchestration, second one, which is just being kind of thoughtful about how you use AI, because one of the biggest constraints at the moment is the context window volume. So folks might have heard of context rot, which is basically where you overload the context window so that it goes off the rails and kind of loses a thread. I think if you've ever had that conversation that feels like a race to the bottom and sloppy, it's like probably because the model is just not on the rails of what you want it to do, and it's too much information in the context window. And then from there, though, the big point for us is like, okay, if we can describe to AI what our special source is, we can use the models well to get value out of that. Then how do we use that time and opportunity to explore new ways of working together, new forms of value, building new stuff, collaborating better, human to human, that kind of thing. So we call that exploration. So it's like specification, orchestration, exploration. These are like new muscles that we're seeing.
Cool. Okay. So one of the other phrases that came up in this was a context gardening.
Oh yeah.
And my understanding of it is that it's like cultivating your own human judgment instead of offloading that to like an algorithm. Yeah. Is that fair?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, we had a chat about this when we met. I was like, context maxing. What do you think about the maxing stuff? I'm like, I'm kind of trying to cosplay Gen Z a bit here to try and get in the game.
Yeah, as you should. That's so exciting.
Thank you. But we're trying to meet the conversation where it's at with token maxing, this kind of thing. But at the end of the day, and I do think this maxing term has been co-opted by the broader internet for a more joyous project of like, optimizing life and experience and so on.
Leaning in
a bit. Yeah. But ultimately it signals this idea of like kind of being mediated by the algorithms and that you're maxing relative to a machine. And I think bigger picture for me, like we've got to go beyond that. And so gardening was a bit of a gesture towards like, what would it look like if we really were team human about this and thought about, what it would look like to cultivate these skills more organically, not just for what like the algorithms want us to be. And so that was gardening. And I used to always say back in team sport, your team is a garden, not a supermarket, which like often people feel like they go to their team and just hope that stuff will be there for them to like, benefit from. But really it takes cultivation and investment in one-to-one relationships within the team. It's really like a process. And so that was just a little gesture. Yeah.
Nice.
I think what's cool about what you're suggesting to me is that like you're clearly coming at this from a place of like, oh, I care about who has ownership over their information. And like I have this sort of concern about how AI will develop maybe. But the conclusions that you're coming to are the same as like if I talk to someone that I know who just uses AI for 10 hours a day and kind of like doesn't care about their information or privacy at all, they're making the same suggestions. Like the things that you're saying are not just about optimizing information. They're also just like literally the best and most efficient way to use AI.
Right, exactly.
Like according to like every single person that I know that's really good at using AI.
Right. Yeah. I think
so it's cool that they align.
Exactly. And I think they do in theory. And the question for policy people is like, how do you just ensure that they stay aligned? Because I think over time you might see companies with different incentives to like start to make money. I don't know if you guys have heard of this idea of in-shitification, right? Where tech platforms come in and build beautiful products and everyone's like, this is greatest thing ever. Facebook, have you heard of that? And then over time it becomes a bit of a slop engine because like people are pulling back from making a good product. Investors are like, okay, we want to take now. And so we don't know what's coming. And I think the synergy is there at the moment. And indeed, Matt, we started with watching like the lead users and be like, how are they doing it? And then we're working back to say, okay, like how do public actors come in and say, okay, let's like do this, try and democratize this for more people and in a way that gives people enduring power so you can keep hold of your value is the context you bring to these systems. So like, how do you walk away with that and have choice and power in like what comes next?
So if harnesses are a step in the right direction, like what do you see as the next step in the right direction?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think ultimately, I'd have to think about that. I think it's like, I see the harness as like, it is the harness, right? It's like the car of the internal combustion engine. It allows you to drive this thing around now. What I'd want to see is like more standardization of protocols and governance so that people maintain power with their harness. So like one example of that is I think what's emerging now, MCP, the Model Context Protocol,
Mhm.
and ACP, I think this kind of agent to agent thing, it's kind of settling on a broad understanding across the industry that like, yeah, we're probably going to go in this direction, which is awesome. Like the fact that we have a standard set of rules for how agents interact with people is terrific. But I still think we could take that step further. And so you all can check out Human Context Protocol, which is a paper that a bunch of smart people put together, which really extends that to say, okay, how do we make sure that this protocol stays human readable? Humans get to take their information away, because like there's a chance that over time the model builders might be like, oh yeah, MCP, cool. Let's like take it a step where we start to extract more data than humans can control and blah, blah, blah. So it's like putting those like rules of the road in place that work for people.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I know we're up at time, but I have two final questions for you. One, so much of your work is about giving some education, I would say, and guidance to policymakers. How much belief do you have in policymakers around AI?
So just been in SF and talking about our paper, and the general reaction from builders, from folks who are close to technology was like, great, this is exactly what we need. It feels like we're a little bit ahead of the wave in DC and policy land.
Okay.
Because you kind of have to give folks like the anatomy of generative AI, like this is next token prediction, this is a context window, this is why you got to like be careful, and then you get to context maxing. So I think technically we're a bit deep for the policy community. So we're working on how to communicate this better.
Okay.
But honestly, I think there's a new wave of public energy, and part of the formula is not just like old school policy making in DC. And indeed, I think it's like, and part of the reason why we use context maxing is to try and appeal to this idea that policy can be cultural, can be public, can be like political as well. And so the more we kind of inspire users, lead users to insist on this, and like, to kind of feel responsibility for a greater common good, I think that kind of bottom up energy is what we're really interested in policy now. It's like this kind of new wave of, we call it policy making as prototyping. So it's like, we can't just like write a report. We've got to actually build and get close to the metal and like put it on GitHub and like, get in the game with people using the tech. Yeah.
That's so cool. It's also so aligned with what the technology is doing.
Totally. Yeah.
So it's interesting that that model can be applied. The model that's happening within AI can be applied to policy as well.
Totally. We just hope we're not slop cannons, like
pumping
stuff out.
all of us hope we're not that. Okay. Then last question. Was there anything that like really surprised you in the research where you were like, wow, this is completely opposite of what I thought it was going to be?
I think I was just like pleased by the way that the creativity that you see with people using these tools and the willingness to share. Because I think there's true excitement about the technology in these kind of quiet corners of people in their garage, like having a go. And I think that has so much, like in a world where the pitchforks are coming out on one hand and then like the kind of AGI folks are going on the other way. Like there is this middle ground where we do get to kind of tell a story that's like humans plus AI, human interest. And so I think the more we get people excited about doing that in a really human way, the better. And so I think I was really pleased to find that in our research.
Yeah. Nice. Jacob, thank you so much for coming and talking about this.
Thanks for having me. This was so much fun.
It's really nice to talk to researchers, and also researchers that are really positive. I think like your sentiment in our first conversation when we met, I was like, oh, it's really nice to just have, I talked to so many technologists, like deep technologists who are like obviously obsessed with this stuff and see only good. And I think, it's just really encouraging to hear your research and that you net positive vibes.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've got this powerful technology now that like has disrupted this idea that we just have to take tech and be users. It's actually like we can, with AI, we can start to shape that ourselves and build stuff. And
tech makes tech, people make tech.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It got a lot more complicated. Yeah. In a fun way.
In a fun way, in the best way. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Amazing. Such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to play a little you're good. We're gonna play a trailer for the next episode of Show Me Your Stack. Guillermo Rausch, who is the founder of Vercel, is our guest, Jules' guest for this week's episode. And he is building a lot of fun stuff. So there's a little trailer that's about to play. And
Whenever we catch ourselves talking, we should be V0ing. Why are you chatting on Slack? Get busy building.
Get to V0.
Yeah. So what I did in my prompt here is I asked it like, build me like 20 different progress bars that resemble classic video games.
I love this.
And by the way, it came up with the ideas too. I invited the agent to augment my idea, which is something that I also recommend. A little bit of ego death, I call it, of like, don't try to overly complete the idea because you're not that smart. If you were to create a G soundboard, one of the key things is, why is this so slow? I actually don't trust her. This is a clear instance of a CEO actually adding value, even though it's marginal.
okay, that will premiere tomorrow on YouTube. Check out our YouTube. It is at Boys Club World.
Subscribe, hit the bell, like and comment.
Share.
Is there anything else? Yeah. Okay. Share.
Text it around. You know, your mom might actually really like these shows. Like maybe not your mom, but you, the greater you, your mom.
Yeah. No, it's something that really anyone could gain something from.
Totally.
I would say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Anyway, great show. Great episode. Okay. We're going to just quickly, just for shits and giggles, you're going to do your last topic here.
Okay.
Because,
I dropped my phone. I need to recover it.
Oh, I can grab it for you.
I need to read like my notes off of my phone, so I needed it really bad.
I get that.
Okay.
I need to. One thing that I feel like I'm, as you're pulling that up, struggling with professionally is I prepare all these questions and then I don't want to seem like I'm reading, just hanging out looking at my computer when someone's talking, you know?
Well,
We got to figure it out.
yeah, I don't know. It's like sometimes you just got to go on your laptop. Wait, you need one of those prompter things.
I just have a teleprompter right
Yeah,
behind them.
that would actually be so, that would be
There's
everything.
actually one in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
What
I mean,
is your last topic
we
here?
should use it. Okay, no, and then I got distracted and I didn't even like find my last topic.
No
but,
problem.
Okay, well, we can just jump into it anyway. So basically, maybe you would have some commentary on this as someone who uses forms of performing enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
Basically, people like you that just
Athletes,
inject themselves and yeah, athletes. They have their own form of the Olympic Games, which was very much for profit, called the Enhanced Games.
Ooh,
So people were
okay.
swimming, people were running,
Okay.
people were participating in other sports. I'm not really sure. I only really heard about swimming and running. But the idea was that they were not just allowed, but encouraged
to
modify their bodies in
Enhance.
whatever way they saw fit. And so I
Okay.
read a statistic that 91% of the men, I think, were on test. Like when they
testosterone?
when they were
Oh my
competing.
gosh. Okay. Whoa. Oh my God. Imagine being in Las Vegas filled with a hotel filled with men on T. That sounds really scary. Like extreme fear.
And they're there for this Enhanced Games, which is like sponsored by Rumble, I think. Like it's very much within the griftosphere, I would say, for me. Like funded by Thiel and Trump and like some Saudi princes and stuff like that. And it somehow had a SPAC associated with it, which I can't. It's an investment vehicle that I honestly like don't really
I'm surprised
understand.
it wasn't a token.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing is like I literally feel like they ran the like live stream plus token play, like the pump fun play, but they just like used a bunch of like really legitimate infrastructure. Like they used like the real financial infrastructure for it. They're not using stable coins. They released a real stock. I actually don't even know like where the stock was. But.
Okay, so I have a question. Was there prize money? Were there winners?
Yeah, so there were both winners and prize money.
And
so
losers.
There were losers as well. And I do know that there was one person that broke a world record.
Okay.
And so they got like $250K for winning their race.
Okay.
Which was, it was swimming.
Okay.
It was 50-meter swimming. And then they got 1 million for like breaking the world record. But like the record didn't count because the record doesn't allow you to yassify your body in the way that this person was. Like, I don't actually know what they did, but they were just
Doing a
injecting left
lot
and
of stuff.
right.
Yeah. Taking stuff.
So it didn't like count for the record book, but they did receive $1 million.
Okay, there. Oh, so whoa, they were deeply incentivized to fuck around and find out.
Well, this is something that I
Oh my
looked into
gosh,
because
this man is absolutely yoked.
yeah,
This
like
is
that's
crazy
that's the
behavior.
type of stuff you're seeing.
Okay, was he a professional swimmer before? Do you know?
I think almost all of the people were like professional. I think all the people were professional athletes. Many of them were former Olympians. So they're already at the top of
you know
the
what?
field.
This makes me sad because what I'm reading from this is I was a professional Olympian swimmer. I wasn't Michael Phelps. I'm not getting a Wheaties deal. So then now I'm 37, 36, can't really find a normal job.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to the endurance games. Endurance games?
Endurance game. Yeah.
And make $1 million pumping myself full of experimental peptides.
Right.
Which, like, to each their own. Whether you need someone to send you a cab, Uber to Greenwich Village to take you to Williamsburg, or you need to pump yourself full of peptides, I guess it's your body, your choice. You know what I'm saying?
Like it's really hard to be a world-class athlete that makes it to the Olympics and then like doesn't hit the podium. Like that sounds horrible. Like if I was they were literally like literally the top of the sport was there, and then they were like, okay, well, if we inject ourselves with something, can we take it even farther? Which I like I don't like the griftiness of it, like the for-profit and kind of like
you want this to be a nonprofit.
Well, I mean, like the Olympics are literally just about, I don't know if the Olympics is like a nonprofit technically, but it's literally just about like showcasing people who are really good at stuff. It's not really about like, I'm sure it makes money, but it takes on a different flavor. Like people are not competing there like because they're receiving a check. And I looked into, at first I thought that when I saw the person that won the world record, I thought that they got the $1 million because they had used performance enhancing drugs, but like as a bonus. But then I found out that the bonus was not for using performance enhancing drugs. It was for beating the world record. So I was like initially concerned that they were literally paid like directly for doing drugs, which is not the case. To like be a little bit fair to those involved. But yeah, there was like a stock associated with it that crashed at the end of it.
Wow, I can't believe they used like a literal, like actual stock. That's crazy.
Or yeah, some sort of like trad investment vehicle.
Okay.
That only operates from 9 to 4 or whatever, when they really could have been using crypto rails. And then I would have,
oh my gosh, nonstop
it would have
trading.
made more sense, really.
It really would have.
But I think a lot of the discourse was like, oh, I think that like the general sentiment was, oh, there's a reason that we don't like doping in the Olympics and stuff like that, which like, yes, there is. But I'm kind of like, there are so many factors that go into being a world-class anything. Like it's nature, it's nurture. It's like, what is like, obviously there is a difference, but there's a spectrum between I had access to really high quality food when I was 12 years old. And like, I now have access to experimental drugs. Like those are not the same thing, but they are the same flavor.
Okay. Democratizing athletic excellence.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, well, you have to have both in order to win, right? Like you have to have the nature, the nurture, the drugs. Like, I mean, I guess maybe you don't need the drugs is kind of what this event
This is the question.
Proved. But I think like this idea that it's somewhat arbitrary to just say, oh, this thing that you inject in your body or this pill that you take is performance enhancing. And so therefore we shouldn't allow athletes to use it to reach peak performance. But it's like, well, you can eat a bunch of carrots or like, I don't know, what's a healthy food that people would eat to perform? Like you can have a bunch of milk,
a bunch of chicken breasts.
And so I think like, to me, it's like, if your goal is to maximize the potential of your body, then let's just do it, y'all. Like, let's get it started.
Do you think that they should allow performance enhancing drugs at the Olympics?
I don't necessarily think that, but I do think that like it makes sense to have a place where you are really, really, truly trying to reach your goal by whatever means necessary.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that that should be the Olympics. I mean, I kind of do feel like, why not?
Okay.
Like, I guess I don't understand like what exactly are the rules or the thought process that undergirds the idea that like performance enhancing drugs are banned from the Olympics.
And who makes those decisions also? You know, like there are people, but whomst. Okay. Two things I have to say here and then we can wrap. One, the fact that there were actual athletes at this thing, like Olympic athletes, makes me like it more, because my head, this was like the Logan Paulification of swim meets. You know what I mean?
But I feel like it like was.
Okay.
It was, but with Olympic athletes.
With a few Olympic athletes.
That sphere has grown so powerful that they now can draw in Olympic level athletes into their shenanigans.
Whoa. Okay. That's upsetting. And then the second thing is, I think that there's a version of the story that I said at the beginning, which is I am 37 years old. I need a job. And so I'm going to go to the endurance games. And like, that's a sad story. Another version of the story is that these people are, and as someone who is maybe an extremist, I can understand this, of like, I want to see what the absolute limit of my ability is, and take every available thing in the world to get there, whether it be training really hard or these tea or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that, I think people who are Olympic level athletes have that level of ambition and drive.
Right.
And so part of it could just be, I want to do this anyway. Here's a way for me to make $1 million doing it, and see if I have all these levers where I can get.
Yeah, totally.
It could come from an extremist sort of view, not a broke place.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think also there's like it depends what time frame you're considering, right? Because when you're optimizing your health, it's often the case that maybe in order to be super healthy now, you might take a toll on your body later, especially with more experimental stuff, like where we don't actually understand that. So I feel like the standard athlete thing is like, oh, I want to be healthy and performant for a long time. Whereas I would see this event as being more like, no, there is a very short window that I'm optimizing for, and I kind of don't care what happens after that, which could be obviously concerning if we don't understand what the repercussions of the drugs that they're using are. So like, like I think it's a totally fine approach to like competition and optimization, but I'm also like, well, how well informed can the athletes be? And then how well informed are they? That's like the critical question to me, but it's also like, they can make questions about what they're doing, or they can make their own judgment about and make their own decisions about what they're doing to their own bodies. So.
Whoa, crazy. Is this going to be
and no one's talking about it.
Is this going to be a yearly games?
I actually don't really know. Do we know anything about the history of the enhanced games?
The lore of the enhanced games.
I'm
sure it seems like there's enough money involved.
I mean, they're grifting. Like, I feel like they're going to do it as often as they can possibly.
They're going to squeeze every last penny.
Although it was a lost leader, I guess. I think they lost money on the production of the event. So depends how hard they're grifting. You know, like it's like they get the check, they farm the attention, they get us to talk about it, and then the whole world finds out from us. So.
Okay, what a funny show we had here. I really enjoyed it. We talked about dating etiquette. We talked about the Pope and AI, and then the first EV from Ferrari. We talked about the Brookings Institution. And
we did.
Jacob, what a guy. Really love what he's up to there. And then we talked about the grifter games, or what is it called?
The enhanced games.
Enhanced games.
I like your title better, but
Thank you. Okay. We have Show Me Your Stack tomorrow. Subscribe to our YouTube. Share with your friends. I think that's all we have here.
And that's it.
That's a wrap.